Hey there, friends. Have you ever felt a sudden, sharp pain in your big toe or knee, maybe so bad that you couldn't even walk to the kitchen for a glass of water? If you're over 55, that could be a sign of gout, a type of arthritis that's all too common as we age. Here's the thing, if you don't manage gout pain now, those flare ups can get worse, making it hard to do the things you love, like taking a stroll in the park or playing with your grandkids. But what if I told you that you can ease your gout pain with a few simple changes to your diet? Stick with me because today we're going to explore 3 easy diet tips to help you feel better and keep those painful gout attacks at bay. Today, we're diving into something that can help you take control of your gout pain, especially if those flare ups are starting to slow you down. I'll walk you through 3 practical diet tips to manage your gout pain, using foods you probably already have in your kitchen, like cherries, lemon water, and whole grains. We'll go through each tip step by step so you'll know exactly what to eat, why it helps your body, and how to make it part of your daily routine. I'll also share real stories from people just like you, along with some simple ideas to get started today. So, grab a cup of tea, get comfy, and let's start this journey to a more comfortable you together. Let's break this down into 3 simple diet tips that can help you manage gout pain, and I'll explain everything in a way that feels like we're chatting over coffee. Let's start with the first tip. Eat more cherries to reduce inflammation and lower uric acid levels. I know how much those gout flare ups can hurt, especially when they hit your big toe or knee, making it hard to even put on your shoes. Why is this tip so important for us as we get older? Gout happens when there's too much uric acid in your body, which forms crystals in your joints, causing pain and swelling. After 55, our bodies don't clear uric acid as well as they used to, so it builds up more easily. Cherries, whether fresh, frozen, or in juice form, are packed with antioxidants called anthocyanins, which help reduce inflammation and lower uric acid levels. A study from Boston University found that eating cherries can reduce gout attacks by 35% because they help your body flush out that extra uric acid. Let me tell you about Robert, a 62-year-old from Chicago. Robert used to get gout attacks every few months, and the pain in his big toe was so bad he couldn't walk his dog, a routine he loved. He was worried he'd have to rely on medication forever, and he didn't want to deal with the side effects. His daughter read about cherries helping with gout, and Robert decided to give it a try. He started eating a handful of fresh cherries every day, about 10 to 15 cherries, which he'd buy from his local grocery store like Jewel Osco in Chicago. If fresh cherries weren't in season, he'd use frozen ones or drink a small glass of tart cherry juice. At first, he wasn't sure if it would work, but after a month, he noticed his gout attacks were less frequent and the pain wasn't as severe. Robert told me, "I was amazed. Something as simple as cherries made such a big difference. I can walk my dog again without worrying about a flare-up." How can you start with this tip? It's really easy. Next time you're at the grocery store, whether it's Walmart in the US or Tesco in the UK, pick up some fresh or frozen cherries or a bottle of tart cherry juice. Try eating 10 to 15 cherries a day or drink a small glass of cherry juice, about 8 ounces. You can have them as a snack, mix them into your yogurt, or add them to your morning smoothie. This simple addition can help reduce inflammation and lower your uric acid levels so you can keep moving without those painful gout attacks. Now that you've got cherries as a tool to fight inflammation, let's move on to the second tip. Drink lemon water every day to help your body flush out uric acid. I know how frustrating it can be when gout pain keeps you from doing the things you love, like gardening in your backyard or going to your weekly book club. Why is this tip so important for us as we age? High uric acid levels are the main cause of gout, and as we get older, our kidneys don't work as efficiently to remove it. Lemon water helps make your body more alkaline, which can help your kidneys flush out uric acid more effectively. It also keeps you hydrated, which is key for preventing gout attacks, because dehydration can make uric acid build up faster. A study from the University of Maryland Medical Center found that drinking lemon water daily can lower uric acid levels by 10% because the citric acid in lemons helps break down those crystals in your joints. Let me tell you about Margaret, a 67-year-old from London, UK. Margaret loved tending to her garden. She'd spend hours planting flowers and pulling weeds, but her gout attacks started getting worse, and the pain in her knee made it hard to kneel down or even stand for long. She didn't want to give up gardening, but she was scared the pain would keep her indoors. Her neighbor suggested drinking lemon water, and Margaret decided to try it. She started squeezing the juice of half a lemon into a glass of warm water every morning, about 8 ounces, and drinking it before breakfast. She also made sure to drink plenty of water throughout the day to stay hydrated. At first, she thought it might not do much, but after a few weeks, she noticed her gout attacks were less frequent and her knee pain wasn't as bad. She was back to gardening, even if it was just for a little while each day. Margaret told me, "I never thought something as simple as lemon water could help. I'm so glad I can enjoy my garden again." How can you start with this tip? It's super simple. Grab a lemon from your kitchen or pick one up at the store, like Safeway in the US or Sainsbury's in the UK. Squeeze the juice of half a lemon into a glass of warm water, about 8 ounces, and drink it first thing in the morning before breakfast. If you don't like the taste, you can add a teaspoon of honey to make it a bit sweeter. Try to do this every day and make sure you're drinking enough water throughout the day. Aim for 8 glasses if you can. This habit can help your body flush out uric acid so you can keep enjoying the activities that make you happy. With lemon water helping your body get rid of uric acid, let's move on to the third tip. Cut back on red meat and switch to plant-based proteins to prevent gout flare-ups. I know how much we all enjoy a good steak or burger, especially at family barbecues or Sunday dinners, but red meat can be a trigger for gout attacks. Why is this tip so important for us as we get older? Red meat like beef, lamb, or pork is high in purines, which your body breaks down into uric acid. When you eat a lot of purines, it can cause a spike in uric acid levels, leading to those painful gout flare-ups. After 55, our bodies are more sensitive to these spikes, so cutting back on red meat can make a big difference. Instead, you can switch to plant-based proteins like beans, lentils, or tofu, which are low in purines and still give you the protein you need to stay strong. A study from the Arthritis Foundation found that people who reduce their red meat intake and eat more plant-based proteins can lower their risk of gout attacks by 27% because they're not overloading their body with purines. Let me tell you about John, a 70-year-old from Seattle. John loved his weekly steak dinners. It was a tradition he'd had for years. But his gout attacks started getting worse, and the pain in his big toe was so bad he couldn't even wear his favorite shoes. He was worried he'd have to give up his traditions, but he didn't want the pain to control his life. His doctor suggested cutting back on red meat, and John decided to give it a try. He started swapping out his steak for plant-based options like black beans in his chili or lentils in his soups. He'd have a meatless meal at least 3 times a week, and he made sure to include other proteins like eggs or tofu, which he found at his local grocery store, like Whole Foods. At first, he thought he'd miss the meat, but he was surprised at how tasty his new meals were, especially his lentil soup with a bit of garlic and herbs. After a couple of months, he noticed his gout attacks were much less frequent, and he could walk around more comfortably. John told me, "I still enjoy my meals, but now I don't have to worry about the pain. I feel so much better." How can you start with this tip? It's easier than you think. Next time you're planning your meals, try swapping out red meat for a plant-based protein a few times a week. You can make a hearty chili with black beans instead of beef, or try a lentil soup for dinner. They're easy to find at stores like Kroger in the US or Asda in the UK. If you're not ready to give up meat completely, start by cutting back. Maybe have red meat once a week instead of every day. This change can help lower your uric acid levels and prevent gout flare-ups, so you can keep enjoying your favorite traditions without the pain. Now that you have these 3 diet tips in your toolbox, let me give you one extra tip to tie it all together. Be consistent with these changes and track your progress to stay motivated. I know it can feel overwhelming to change your diet, especially if you're used to eating a certain way, but small, consistent steps can make a big difference. Why is consistency so important for us? because your body needs time to adjust to these new habits. And when you stick with them, you'll start to see real results like fewer gout attacks and less pain. Dr. Emily Carter, a nutritionist from Boston, says consistency is key when it comes to managing gout. It's like tending to a garden where small efforts every day lead to big results. Let me tell you about Susan, a 65-year-old from Manchester, UK. Susan started using these diet tips after a bad gout attack left her unable to walk for days. At first, she'd try them on and off. She'd eat cherries one day, but then forget the next. And she wasn't consistent with cutting back on red meat. She felt frustrated because she wasn't seeing much improvement. But then she decided to get serious. She made a plan to eat cherries every day, drink lemon water each morning, and have at least 3 meatless meals a week. She also started keeping a little notebook to track what she ate and how she felt, noting any gout flare-ups. After a month, she noticed her attacks were much less frequent, and she hadn't had a bad flare-up in weeks. Susan told me, "Keeping track of my meals helped me stay on track. It made me realize how much these small changes were helping me." How can you be consistent? Start by picking one meal to focus on, like breakfast, and make sure you include lemon water or cherries every day. Keep a simple journal or use a notes app on your phone to write down what you eat and how you feel. If you have a gout flare up, note what you ate that day. It might help you spot triggers. If you miss a day, don't worry, just pick up where you left off. Being consistent will help you see results, and it'll keep you motivated to keep going. Let's recap everything we've covered today. We talked about 3 simple diet tips to manage gout pain after 55, plus an extra tip to help you stay on track. First, we looked at eating more cherries to reduce inflammation and lower uric acid levels. Then, we talked about drinking lemon water every day to help your body flush out uric acid. Next, we explored cutting back on red meat and switching to plant-based proteins to prevent gout flare-ups. And finally, I gave you an extra tip. Be consistent with these changes and track your progress, because that'll help you stay motivated and see results. Together, these tips can help you manage your gout pain, reduce flare-ups, and give you more comfort, so you can keep doing the things you love, like gardening, walking your dog, or enjoying a family dinner without worrying about the pain. I know gout pain can feel overwhelming, especially when it stops you from doing the things that bring you joy, like taking a walk in the park or playing with your grandkids. But you don't have to make huge changes all at once. Just start with one small step, like adding cherries to your diet this week or drinking lemon water each morning. You deserve to feel comfortable, active, and full of energy, no matter your age. As Dr. Emily Carter said, your health is like a garden. Nurture it with small, loving steps, and it'll bloom beautifully. So let's make a promise. This week, try at least one of these tips and keep going, one day at a time. You've got this, and I'm here cheering you on every step of the way. If you found this video helpful, I'd love for you to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more health tips for seniors. Your support means a lot, and it helps us share more ideas to help you live your best years with comfort and happiness. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these tips are you most excited to try? Maybe you're thinking about adding cherries to your diet or cutting back on red meat. Let me know. I read every comment, and I'd love to hear from you. For more tips on staying healthy after 55, check out our video on simple stretches to ease arthritis pain. Take care, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.